Okay, so this is where we left off, and since then I have just modelled a bit more detail into the face here, around the nose, and really just trying to sort of look at the geometry, clean it up a bit. I kind of cut some new points at the top here to take out this corner, and really a lot of this was based around looking on the 45-degree angle photograph that I could see things a little bit clearer. So let's start off by looking at how we can bring in this photograph and actually have some use from it. So the first thing I do is I create a new camera, and just to make my life a little bit easier, I'll call this angle cam. And what I want to do is I want to look through that camera. I don't necessarily have to look through it, but just to get to the view menu here, I can just go to import image and go to center angle and open this one up, and I'm just going to select this camera and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. Now like I say, that is just an estimate really, because now I don't see the model at the moment, so what I do is I just scroll back and then the model will come into view, and now I'm looking at the model on a 45-degree angle, and I can look at the areas around the cheeks here, and I get a better idea of the nose and the lips, the eyes, and these sorts of things. It's also recommended if tell people to keep the same expression, as Santa is looking slightly different here to the side ones, but it's besides the point. Now the thing is that I'm modelling here, and it can get a bit confusing. Here I've got smooth preview. If I hit 1, I go back to low poly. If I hit 2, I have a mix between the two here. And this is really the better way to work, because if I start moving points around in the smoothed off view, then I get slight distortion on the mesh, but in this view then I'm working on the low poly cage and then seeing my movements. But at this stage we're kind of we're looking really at the shape of the whole face here, and it's a little bit hard to sort of model that when I'm using half a face here. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. First way is using proxies, subdiv proxy. If I just go to the options here and then reset my settings, and at the top here, one nice little feature is inherit smooth mesh preview. So that means that if I'm hitting smooth on my low mesh model, the two things will be seamless. So I'm going to choose that option. It also simplifies my settings here. A mirror behavior, I want to mirror half over, and I want to mirror it on the negative Z, so it's going to go over onto the left hand side here. Subdiv proxy shader, this is actually what's going to happen to my low poly mesh on this side. Now here the default is transparent. One reason for that is because you can model a bit like we do with the smooth preview, model on top of each other, and we're not doing that, so I don't need to make anything transparent. I'll just actually say keep, and then I'll hit the smooth button, and now you see I have the model on the other side, and it's this profile here that I'm looking at and if you're not sure about the angles, then this isn't too bad. If I look around the eye here, so along the bridge of the nose, and then follow the brow line here, and then look over here, and you see it's looking quite similar. And if I follow the line down the side here, I start to see that for a start that the cheek is very flat, and this is what generally you're going to find, because this is the area that is kind of the no man's land. So from this shot I can start to look at my profile here, and for sure I can see that my cheek needs to come out. Now at this point, when I start moving points around, it's a little bit tricky here to see what I'm doing. I also don't really want to mess up this shot, but what I tend to do is I will turn this panel into another view. So I can, on this one, I can say let's make that the side camera. If I still need my outline, or I want my outline, I'll just open that up in a separate window and put it in over here. And the advantage of this is I can see, well, I mean, having to be in the side view here, I can sort of see a little bit clearer what I'm doing. So if I want to move out this edge here, I can select the edge and I can just pull it in the world, and then I can start to look, see how that cheekbone is coming out, and now I can see that it's beginning, but even now I can see it's actually wants to be a little bit really out here. Now if I look on the side, I can see that's quite extreme, so it's probably I need to sort of subtly pull it out a little bit more. But also I can go into, say, on my perspective view and spin around, and what I can do here is I can actually sort of just view the subdiv proxy side to see how that's doing. Actually looks, although it's a little bit stylized, that's alright there. So I'm kind of working like this, so not getting stuck in one view. I can even also hit Control and Tab to go into a full screen view here. And I'm always going to be changing these images. The only thing you need to be careful about in this window is don't start to move the camera around or track the camera. So if I hit Alt and middle mouse button to move around, then as I move this around, I'm actually, now you can see I'm seeing a completely different view here. So I have to just leave it in its default settings. If you want to go back on your camera view, if you use the brackets keys, so if the opening bracket here will take me back to, it's like a undo on camera movements basically. It's not something I use so often, but actually if you try to undo things when you make camera movements, you can't actually do it. So, and then you can see I can move back, and probably the advisable thing would be don't move it in the first place. But you can also lock the camera off, as you don't want, if you don't want to move it by accident, you can use bookmarks here. You can just add a bookmark, or what's more likely in this situation is, if I just go back to my normal view here, is to simply select that camera, which happens to be over there, and I can select all of these and just say lock selected, and now when I'm in this view I can still move it because I'm not actually, no, I'm in the angle cam, and that's because I locked the perspective camera and not the angle camera. So that was let's just unlock them and then go back to my angle camera here, and then lock that one, and now you see I can't actually move the shot there. So now I've not going to have any mistakes there. So that's really looking in these two views is a big help. Now once you've done your modelling, and just a few little tips on changing things at the geometry here. If you want to change a line radically, so say for instance I wanted to move this line, I didn't like where it was, I want to move, or actual fact, you know what I'll do is I'll change this line here. So instead of it going off over there, I want this line to come up there. So rather than just moving points across, so instead of moving these lines, because when you start to move these points across, it can have quite a dramatic effect on your geometry. And the basic geometry is okay, I just need to make tweaks. So rather than moving these points around, what I would do is I would get my split poly tool, so just do shift right click here, and the first thing I would do is I would just cut in my new line. Now, for the sake of speed, I'll just bypass them all here and then cut up like that. So that's my new line, and this is my old line here. And I've got various. I can either delete that, or in this case, what I would do is I would go to my merge vertex tool. Let's just get that again, merge vertex tool, and then I can just click through here and just clean up the geometry like that, and then I've got my the line that I want here, so I'm not destroying it. Try to avoid, my policy is always trying to avoid putting in extra geometry if you can. See if you can make it from what you've got, and it's really about just observing and moving the points around and trying to keep a nice flow. So you're always looking around and following these lines, and if they sort of take abrupt turns, I mean that would be abrupt, but if I look at it, it's all part of this this area of the face here. So once you're happy with that, once you feel like you've done all the modelling you can, we then want to add onto the back of the head here. So I can do that by taking a sphere, or I could extrude these faces out. So let's just get rid of my angle camera here, because I'm not going to go through all the modelling of this, and right, so we'll get rid of the angle camera, and we'll get rid of I think that's probably what I want to get rid of at the moment, and we'll switch that one off. We'll switch on the model one here. So now what I want to do is to just build in the back of the head here. So I'm going to simply go and get a sphere to start off with, and I want the poles of the sphere, so where all the edges come together here, I want them on the side. So you think of that as a kind of a headphone, basically. If you look at this shape here, that's what we're looking at. So this is going to be the ear. This one has already had its subdivisions reduced down. You could sort of work it out from here how many you need, but we can also just sort of delete them if we've got too many. Now I'm going to put my little group into the center here, back into the center. Let's go into a front view, and I just snap this one across and back into the center, and I'll get this one, snap that into the center. The first thing I'll do is just basically some scaling of this one. So, and I'm going to just use the right hand side of the face here as a reference. Ignore this side, because you can see here that because Santa was on a slight angle, I've modelled the thinner side of her face. So her head will be a lot thinner than. And I'm looking at this line here where just before it triangulates is my kind of a reference point. Let's go into a side view here, and I want to bring this back now. And like I say, I use this area to sort of aim around the ear. I hit 4 here. You can see them just above the ear there, and that's fine. And we'll scale this one out a little bit. Now I can also just scale in points here as well. If I just go to vertex mode and drag over this side of the model, and then I can move the pivot point with the D, and then if I hit V I can snap it down to this point here. Why didn't that do it? I think it's because it's snapping to something else. So let's just do D move it across, and then V, and there we go. Just a little bit more careful with it. So let's just scale in the back of the head here. It's quite a lot of something like that. Looks okay. And the rest is sort of okay. Might just select over here and move these points out a little bit. Just a little bit. We'll join these ones up together, so that's not going to be an issue. Okay, so that looks kind of okay to me. Now I can get rid of a lot of this. Well, first of all, let's just get rid of the other half. As we eventually mirror this one across, and I can get rid of all of these. Go into a side view. Get rid of, let's see, everything up to that point. Maybe let's just undo that. Yeah, I'll just get rid of all of these. And that one as well. Okay, so now I'm going to join these together. So I'll select this one and select this one, and just simply say combine, and then go through back to object mode here, and I'm going to use my merge vertex tool and start to pull these ones up. And I think I will leave it at that. This is probably going to bridge across from here, so I just hit 3 on the keyboard, and it needs a bit of tweaking around the eye here. I think maybe pull this one back a little bit too much. I'll go into a front view. Yeah, you can see there that that one is sort of, something's getting pulled up there. No, it's this one. Yeah, okay, well I'm not going to, I want to just do the basics here, but you've got the basic mechanics there for, I think if I look like that, it's just a little bit of a bulge here, but, so then what I want to do is, let's have a look in the side view here, is I want to start to construct an area, and it really only has to be a single polygon here that I can build the ear out from. So let's have a look at what we've got to work with here. So I think what I'll do first of all is, I can see I've got all of this edge here that is going to come back. So let's just give ourselves a little bit of geometry up to the edge of the nose here. So if I just select this edge here, and again I just check that I've got everything there. Yeah, that's okay. Go to my extrude and just pull this one out just to before the ear here. That looks to be okay. Now I've got a line coming up here. In fact, if I just go into wireframe view, I can start to sort of look at the jawline here. So if I think I'll use this vertex point here just to come up under the earlobe, and this one might need to come down in front of it a little bit there, and this would be just marking the top of the ear, so just the gap to where it sort of starts now. Insanna's earlobe is actually kind of attached to here, but let's just select these edges and bridge across. Maybe we'll also, there we go. Now let's hit 3 on the keyboard. You see here, this is one of the issues with the bridge tool, is it can put in these double edges here. If I select this edge here, you see I have 2 edges now. I'd love to know why they thought that was a good idea, but if I want to get out of that, I've got them both selected there, and I can say merge border edges, and now you see it's gone down to 1, and when I smooth it I don't have the same issue there. So that's that bit done. Now what I'm going to do here as well is I'm just going to create a new bit of geometry. I'm actually going to select this edge here and just extrude inwards. So let's go get shift click extrude edge, go into the world and just pull this one in, and this is how I'm going to sort of define the jawline here, and we can eventually flatten these ones out. So we'll get the in fact what we'll do, make it a bit easier, is I'll carry this on and go back into side view, do another extrude on the world here. That's right, and that's sort of going to come up behind the back of my ear. In fact, let's bring that out to about there. That will do, and then I'm going to bridge across from this edge to this edge, and now you can see I've got this area. Now at the back here it's still a little bit in actual fact the ear would come in something like that, and if I look at the geometry up here, I can see, well, if I take out that edge and that edge, I can just backspace them, I'll keep my geometry there, and I've got something now to work with the jawline. If I hit 3 down here, you can see here I've got this quite a nice line here, and what I just simply want to do is start to fill in this last bit of geometry here. Now you might want to, there's different ways we could do this really. Let's just clean this up first. So I'll go back into a side view and let's just spread this geometry out a little bit. Well, you know what I'm going to do first of all. Yeah, I think this is, let's see if we can bypass a few things here. So if I select down to there, no, you know what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select this one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. Right, so let's extrude the edge down and make 5 divisions and pull it down. I'll just reset that so I don't close it off. Now I use these edges here to model, so again I'm going to bring up the side view here. And then looking at these edges, I'll just start to pull them in to model the back here. Like so. And have I overdone the divisions here? Maybe. Well, let's just sometimes, in actual fact, what I can do here, and it's going to help my geometry, is here I'm defining the jawline. I've got this geometry going off around the back, and already I can see from this point on it's obsolete geometry. It's not doing any, I don't need these two lines here. So what I can do is I can play around, I can bend this around to go up there, sort of in an edge loop. And to do that, if I go to my object mode and I go to my merge vertex, I can simply say merge those two together, merge those two together, and now you can see it's bending around, it's going to bend around the corner here. I don't need these two anymore, and I don't need those two anymore. And if I hit 3 on the keyboard, you see that just is helping to define the jawline there up to the ear, and consequently I also have less geometry now on the back, so I don't need to actually bring these over so much. So let's say the bottom one looks like it's a little bit further down, so I'm joining from here to here, and this is with get around the bridge issue. Now, what I would do is I would simply close the gap with the bridge, double click on this, say fill hole, and go back into object mode here, and then go to my split poly and just right click on that, right click, and I've got this piece of geometry coming down here as well. Now I need it over there. I don't really need any there. This is one I could actually just hide, cut this off by simply deleting a line here, an edge rather. So I get rid of this edge, get rid of this edge. In fact, that edge I should have deleted because I don't want this point here anymore. So I'll choose delete edge, and then go back to object mode, split poly, and because this is going to get covered with hair, it doesn't matter. I just cut across. It was still smooth off okay, and now I don't need to add in an extra line. And then because this is going to join down onto the body, and just keep hitting smooth off here, and then I'll just quickly make the neck look less disturbing. So let's simply go to my move tool, take that edge, go into a front view, pull that edge out somewhere that and let's go back into a perspective view on this one. Pull that one out, and I'm going to start to see here now that I want to see where this line is. Pull out the jaw a little bit. So this point is a little bit too far out, I think. In fact, they all look a little bit too... Now with this line, I can play with the jawline by, if I put it out, it's going to soften it. I hit 2, you can see the effect here. That one definitely looks like it should come in. Okay, it's not looking too bad, it's looking a little bit more neck-like. And then simply from that line, now I have a solid line that I can take out this face, so I've got a cleaner edge to work from. I can just extrude down, and let's just do that from the neck. I'm going to go into a side view again here. Yeah, that looks okay. We extrude down, go into the world, and pull this one across. And of course model that one down. Okay, so that's I think enough for one tutorial here. So on the next one I'll run through how we can create a basic ear from out of the geometry that we've got here.